Week 2, Day 2, Morning Nourishment. Matthew chapter 24, verse 14. And this gospel of the kingdom will be preached in the whole inhabited earth for a testimony to all the nations, and then the end will come. Matthew chapter 24, verse 32 through 33. But learn the parable from the fig tree. As soon as its branch has become tender and puts forth its leaves, you know that the summer is near. So also you, when you see all these things, you know that it is near at the doors. The gospel of the kingdom, which includes the gospel of grace, brings people not only into God's salvation, but also into the kingdom of the heavens. The gospel of grace emphasizes forgiveness of sin, God's redemption, and eternal life, whereas the gospel of the kingdom emphasizes the heavenly ruling of God and the authority of the Lord. This gospel of the kingdom will be preached in the whole earth for a testimony to all the nations before the end of this age. Hence, that preaching, signified by the white horse of the first seal, in Revelation chapter 6, verse 1 through 2, will be a sign of the consummation of this age. When the preaching of the gospel of the kingdom to the whole world has been accomplished, we should realize that the last 3.5 years are about to begin. Prior of this preaching, many other things will have taken place, but these things are not the signs of the end of the age. For in speaking about them, the Lord said that the end was not yet. Therefore, the preaching of the gospel of the kingdom to all the inhabited earth will be the unique sign of the end of this age. Today's reading. The fig tree represents the nation of Israel. In Matthew chapter 21, verse 18 through 20, the fig tree, the symbol of the nation of Israel, was cursed by the Lord and withered because it did not produce fruit for him. The Jews lost their nation and were scattered. According to prophecies in the Bible, however, the Jews will recover their nation. The Lord's word concerning the fig tree branch becoming tender and putting forth its leaves refers to this matter. When Israel, like the fig tree, becomes tender and puts forth leaves, the Lord said that his coming would be near. The recovery of the nation of Israel is another sign of the Lord's second coming. The fig tree, signifying the nation of Israel, was cursed in Matthew chapter 21, verse 19. It passed through a long winter from the 1st century to AD 1948, when the nation of Israel was restored. There was its branch, becoming tender and putting forth its leaves. To become tender signifies that life has come back, and to put forth leaves signifies outward activity. Winter signifies the time of being dried up, the time of tribulation. Summer signifies the age of the restored kingdom, which will begin at the Lord's second coming. Israel is a sign to us, just as the preaching of the gospel of the kingdom is a sign to the Jews. When the Jews see the preaching of the gospel of the kingdom, they should realize that it is a sign of the coming tribulation. Likewise, Israel as a fig tree is a sign to us concerning the Lord's coming. The disciples had asked the Lord concerning the sign of his coming, and this age of the consummation of the age. In the foregoing section, the Lord gives the sign of the consummation of the age. This sign is the preaching of the gospel of the kingdom. Now the Lord gives another sign, the sign of his coming. This sign is the fig tree. When its branches become tender, and it puts forth its leaves, we know that summer, the full restoration of the messianic kingdom, is near. As far as both population and geography are concerned, there has not been a full restoration of Israel. The Lord is sovereign. The restoration of the nation of Israel is becoming more and more full. At the time of the millennium, it will reach its fullness.